Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often, we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in our beautiful universe. Welcome to another episode on the Dr. Dolores Show. I am Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And I just want to wish you the happiest of holiday seasons. As you could tell, I've come prepared because we're days away from celebrating Christmas for those of us who celebrate it. And this is an interesting time of the year because it has a tendency to bring up a lot for people in more ways and shapes and forms than people realize. And, you know, if you're an empath, intuitive, or highly sensitive person, I'm really speaking to you because I, as one of those myself, really need to really take a deep dive and do some self-care for myself, and particularly during this time of the year. So we are embarking on the third segment of our four-part series called the Empaths Holiday Haven. And this week's episode is on everything soul nurturance with self-care. And self-care is just so important. And it's not just this time of the year, it's every day of the month, week, month, year. It should be an essence that is just normal and routine for you. It's part of keeping balance, but also creating that inner harmony that many of us really relish and cherish. So, what we could find today in our episode is that I'm just going to read from my notes here that holidays can be a magical time of the year filled with joy, love, and togetherness. However, for empaths, intuitives, and highly sensitive people, this season can bring overwhelming emotions, stress, and exhaustion. That's why in this episode, the Holiday Empaths Haven on the Dolores Show, the Dolores Show. We're here to guide you through the transformative art of self-care, specifically designed to nourish your soul during the holiday whirlwind. As empaths, and possess a unique gift and extraordinary ability to absorb and connect with the emotions of others. While this gift allows you to be incredibly compassionate and intuitive, it can also leave you feeling drained and emotionally burdened, especially during the holidays or any time where there is a lot going on. And in our world, it's probably on a daily basis, something to ponder. So, what we're going to talk about today is some self care techniques that could assist you with moving through this rather interesting time of the year, and what you could do to change things up to possibly make things more interesting for you, but also more tapping into that innate creative ability that we all have as well. Self care is not just about surviving, it's about thriving during the holiday season of celebration. So let's just delve into self care and kind of, see what we can dig up here. So, we talk about nurturance, okay, and nurturing with self care. But let's just look at what soul nurturance is. It refers to a holistic approach to taking care of oneself that goes beyond just physical well being. It involves tending to the needs of your inner self, your emotional and spiritual well being, in addition to addressing your physical health. So it's a holistic approach to taking care of you. It's not just the physical, but you're looking at the emotional things that you need that are going to support you and bring you those warm fuzzies that you can only give yourself. So often we look outside of ourselves for that. And, it's almost the rendition or when we look for things outside of ourselves, it's like there's a hole in our bucket. And when we don't look at that hole in the bucket and address that ourselves, no matter what we put in it from the external, it's going to continue to drain out until we plug up that hole in our bucket with our own love, appreciation, and value and nurturance. It doesn't come from something outside of ourselves, but it comes from within ourselves and their ability to want to take care of ourselves and putting ourselves first as a priority and loving yourself enough to do so. So when we look at the whole, essence of being a holistic being, it's not just the physical, there's the emotional, mental, spiritual, and actually dimensional aspects that require a lot of self-love and nurturing. Our emotional well-being involves understanding and addressing your emotional needs. Sometimes it's about, just sitting with what's happening and just allowing yourself the gift of feeling. Too often in our lives, we've been programmed to think it's not okay to feel. It's not okay to express what you're experiencing. It's not about projecting it out onto other people. It's about really witnessing, okay, I'm being triggered by something. I'm feeling really unsafe right now or, insecure. Just invite yourself to, instead of reacting to that, just kind of sit with that and ponder that. When we're able to tap into that and tap into that feeling, it holds a wealth and a treasure trove of gifts for us. And I know that's might be a little stretch for some people, but it's the truth. Those are the little triggers that maybe they've come from another place and time in our lives that it's coming up for us to reevaluate, re-experience it, express it, and then allow it to come to neutrality so we can move on. Those are the things sometimes that keep us stuck. From a shamanic point of view, what happens is that when we get triggered by something, it's just the superficial part of what's really going on underneath the surface. And it might have been running your whole life from the time you were conceived. I mean, we are energetic beings. We take on so much stuff from our environment, from being in utero, from energetically experiencing what mom and dad might have been going through, or what it was the circumstances around their relationship, or what, their parents and grandparents were influenced, what they were influenced by from these previous generations. This is all energy, and I know it's very it's abstract, but it's simple. That's what I'm going to say, is that oftentimes we try to think that we need to figure something out and have some type of big production as to move through things, when in essence it's so simple that it's just about feeling something, acknowledging it, and just moving on. It can be that simple. So I invite people, when things start coming up for them in regards to their emotional well-being, to sit with what's coming up emotionally. Be with it, feel it, experience it, tap into where you're feeling it in your body, and just flood that area where you're feeling it with so much love, pink light, and appreciation. Pink light is the color of self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion. Just flood that area with so much pink love and light that it's just being flooded with a higher vibration and frequency. What happens is that wherever you're feeling that sensation in your body, it may shift and move to a different part of your body. I invite you to go and follow it where it's traveling and continue to infuse so much love and light and appreciation into this, because this is a part of who you are that has probably been lost, fragmented off in another time and place. And we're in a time right now of such ascension and movement and moving to a higher frequency, creating a new um, life here on earth, heaven on earth, as we want to call it. And it's about clearing out all these old things that each one of us individually has experienced. And the beauty is that many of us are waking up right now and realizing that things may not be working as they were before. And as we continue to move forward, something's got to shift and change. And maybe this may be what is your next step, is looking at what's going on a deeper level, so you could have a deeper sense of emotional well-being for yourself. You could do this through sometimes just sitting in silence, maybe even doing a creative venture where you're allowing yourself to be in the present moment with what you're experiencing. And it's not going down a rabbit hole of like fear, stress, and trying to react to it. Just witness and experience and allow it to pretty much energetically run its course. It'll run pretty quickly, and you're able to come to a neutrality with that where it doesn't affect you or push your buttons anymore. Spiritual well-being, too, doesn't really have to be tied to a religious belief. Spiritual well-being is about, I'm going to just digress a little bit. When we look at spirituality, often gets intertwined with being religious, and they are two separate concepts. Religion, on one hand, is the relationship you have with an organization. It's an external relationship. Being spiritual is an internal relationship you have with your higher self. Two separate concepts, but yet people interchange them as if they're the same. So just remember, being religious is more of an external relationship with a group or an organization. Being spiritual is an internal relationship you have with your inner self, your higher self, your God spark, your inner beingness. So when we look at our spiritual well-being, are we spiritually healthy? Are we connecting with our higher self? Are we embracing the gifts that we have within ourselves? Are we listening to that little voice within ourselves? Too often we have a tendency to ignore that. We get distracted from that. It's about being in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you are in your physical body. When you're in your physical body, this is where you're able to connect with your higher self. There's no other way to do that. You have to be grounded in your body, so everything is anchored, and when the energy comes in, it is anchored and being grounded into you and the earth. Sometimes when we are unanchored or ungrounded, we have a tendency to be free floating, and it's hard for us maybe to concentrate or to step into the present moment. So when you feel like you're in the present moment and you pop out of it and you're in your head, that is an indication that you're not right here, right now. So for many people, coming back to self and coming into the present moment is a real big help to really get their spiritual well-being anchored. So I'm just going to say this. Just listen to yourself. Trust what you're getting from your gut. It's actually very accurate. So you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show, and we're in our holiday season, and we are looking at and experiencing the Empaths Holiday Haven, where we're embracing self-care and self-nurturance right now. So when we return from our break, we will talk more about other things that you could do to nurture yourself with self-care. So see you in a little bit.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and happy holidays. You are listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're in our second segment of the Empaths Holiday Haven, Soul Nurturance with Self-Care. And before the break, we were talking about the importance of emotional well-being and spiritual well-being. And we were segmenting off on experiencing those emotions, those trapped emotions that we might still be carrying along from another place in time. And it's time to move through them gracefully so we could clean up our space and move forward with a lot more ease and grace. Too often, I feel that people, getting back to spiritual well being, is that we disconnect from ourselves a lot. And for those people who are really struggling with staying in their body and being in the present moment, because I know we're so distracted by, that monkey mind talk that goes on in our mind. And oh my god, it's like if we were dogs, would be like squirrels. It's like, oh, the dog sees a squirrel and they're like doing something, squirrel, squirrel. So it's just like we distract ourselves so easily, and that's what it's like when we pop out of our physical body and go into our mind. So for those of you who really have a challenge with that, I have a free gift for you. I invite you to go to the website, my website, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, and click on the pop-up that comes up, and it's a guided meditation to get you into the present moment so that you could be more grounded in your physical body. It's a very short visual guided meditation, and I know that this will definitely enhance your lives and allow you to be right here, right now in the present moment. So speaking of being mindful and in the present moment, when you're able to, go into self-care from that aspect, um, a lot of things don't matter. It's like you're not going to get triggered by things. Um, you are focused right here, right now, because let's face it, the only thing that we have going on right now is us being in the present moment. The past doesn't matter, the future doesn't matter, because we're in such a magical time with our ascension process that whatever you focus on in the present moment, you create the next moment of your reality. It's that simple. So, I feel that so many of us have been creating from I want to say, in a past flow of a lot of fear, lack, um, And, I know for me personally, I had to sit back and look at some of my creations and I would ask my question, am I creating this from a place of fear or lack or stress or anxiety or react versus creating something from a place of peace, love, gratitude, appreciation, and abundance? We are, jumping timelines, if you want to call it that. So let me explain a little further. It's like we are moving so rapidly and accelerating our presence here on the earth plane that we are accelerating and things are accelerating faster. Just look at how time flies. Okay. What I'm going to back up and say too, time is like an earth's concept. It doesn't really exist anyplace else but here on earth. And over the last, I want to say, couple of decades, mostly ever since 2012, time has collapsed on itself. What I mean by that, past, present, and future used to be labeled as linear time. So you'd have the past year, present, and future. Once 2012 came, it was like the timelines shifted poles. So past, present, and future are all happening all at the same time simultaneously. Now, when you look at it from that perspective, what you do in the present moment here has the capability to heal the past down here, that pole, and create the future. So, and where it gets really trippy is that that's in this lifetime. For every lifetime that you have experienced and will experience, everything is superimposed on each other. So it's all happening simultaneously. So for those people who are into past lives, your past lives are happening simultaneously right here in that moment. So what you actually do in this moment has the capability to heal this lifetime and other lifetimes, but also create what's going to be happening in the future lifetimes as well. It's like the infinity sign. It's constantly moving and in flow. It's the figure of eight. So when we know that, we can give the biggest gift to ourselves with our nurturance and self-care. When we're able to dig a little deeper into what is really essential for us right now. And many of us, like I said, are jumping timelines. So, what is no longer aligned with the higher vibrating aspect of who we are? Okay. If we look at who we are right now, we're probably different than what we were even 5 minutes ago, a minute ago, a year ago, a week ago, for sure. So as we continue to work on ourselves, our energy and frequency evolves. So we're vibrating here at a higher frequency, okay? What we had created before is maybe a lower frequency and maybe is no longer aligned with where and who we are, where we're supposed to be and where we're going to be going, okay? So look it's an energetic mismatch. Why would you want to be hanging on to all this heavier stuff that is no longer aligned with where you're going to go? It's like you can't, it's very challenging to bring this stuff because it's lower vibrating with a higher vibrating frequency. So it's natural tendency with the law of quantum physics, it's just going to drop away. So this may show up like maybe you're having changes in your relationships. Maybe you had a job that is no longer aligned with you energetically. It's falling away. Maybe you need to replace a vehicle that no longer is working. It's just like it's no longer an energetic alignment. So when you allow these things to move away with grace and ease and have reverence for the gifts that these things have given you to get you to where you're going, where you're at right now, and possibly where you're going, it's a game changer. It's about having non-attachment to things or people or places or anything else that is transitioning out of your life and allow it creates a void and a space for what is more aligned with you energetically, where you could consciously create and bring that into yourself with the energy that you're experiencing now that is a higher vibrating frequency. Now, I know that was a lot of information for a lot of people. And I think the most important thing, takeaway, is that yes, the timelines are changing. That means that our energy and vibration and frequency are being elevated up. And just remember, anything that's not aligned with that is going to fall away. And the gift that you could give yourself is to appreciate, love, and know that you are getting upgraded. Okay. Even though it gives the illusion and the appearance that, oh, woe is me, this is a bad thing, what am I going to do, blah, blah, blah. I invite you to embrace the mantra that when bad things happen, that you're getting upgraded, and just know and trust that. There's nothing else to figure out. Just get out of your own way so the universe could gift you with what is coming to you next. That simple. Seriously. I invite you to embrace this, because when you're able to step into this, life is just going to be more in the flow. Things are going to manifest and create easily and effortlessly, because you have cleared out the debris of what has been anchoring you and holding you stuck into a different timeline and reality. When you're able to just step into that, and just it's like a game changer for a lot of people. For me particularly, I mean, I've been practicing this for a very long time, and I know it works. And I really feel that this is a key aspect to where we're going in the future. We decide ourselves. We choose. We have free will. You can either, go into the react mode, or just embrace what is coming and just trust and flow into the ease of things. This is all about self-care and self-nurturance. We're in a time of the season of the year where everything seems to be ending, because it's the year's end, of course. And automatically we're just thinking, oh, closing things up for the year, getting things in nice tidy boxes so we can move into the next year. Maybe we're in the purging of clearing out things. This is a perfect time of the year to do some self-reflection on what's working, what's not working. And if things are falling away, allow them to do that with grace and ease, without throwing the emergency brake and trying to move forward with it. It's just the visual of that just cracks me up. It's just like, it has set its course. It is, you have utilized it for what you needed to do. You've learned the lessons from it. It's time for it to fade away, because it's no longer energetically aligned. You're a different person because of that experience. You raised your energy. Now it's time to move on to the next adventure. So I call that. Keep it simple, people. It really is. So you have been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we are in our third episode of our series called The Empaths Holiday Haven. And this episode is Soul Nurturance with Self-Care. So when we come back from our break, we're going to talk more about soul nurturance and self-care, and things that you could do moving forward, not only during the holiday season, but any time of the year. So talk to you when we come back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and we've been talking about the Empath Holiday Haven and soul nurturance for the soul and self-care for the soul too, especially during the holiday season. And, before the break, we were talking about timelines and jumping timelines and, releasing things that are no longer aligned with us energetically as we move forward on our path, because we're either at a higher vibration, and what happens from a quantum energy standpoint is like whatever is no longer aligned is just going to fall away. And sometimes we just get so attached to some of these things that are going away that we keep ourselves stuck and in resistance. So I just invite you to look at a different way of looking at things. So, we're going to talk more about, I'm really feeling the need to, talk about New Year's and New Year's resolution, because we're at that time of the year. And I think that, sometimes we need to look at, a tradition has certain ways of doing things, but I'm just going to invite you to play with this and see what it feels like, it resonates with you. What I usually do for the new year is I focus on a word for the year, because let's look at and this is all about self-care as well, and nurturance. Like for this next year, I'm going to be focusing on appreciation, just for an example. So in ways to appreciate, either appreciating things in my life, appreciating others, appreciating myself. It's about setting the intention with a word, okay? Because words, remember, have vibrations. So when we focus on the word, okay, so appreciation, when we feel into that and tap into that, you could feel the vibration of what that feels like inside of you, okay? So that feeling, what you're experiencing, this is going to be the feel for the year, the essence of the year, that appreciation. So whenever you are struggling with anything or are feeling non-appreciative, it's just like, I invite you to focus on whatever that word is and just feel the vibration and frequency of it, okay? This is like your yearly mantra, and then kind of subdivide the months into, like for January, I want to, my word for January is going to be prosperity. Okay. So with appreciation, that vibration of the word appreciation, I invite you to feel what it feels like when you feel prosperity. What does that feel like? And just allow yourself to integrate that into your beingness. So, for every month, pick out a different word and just kind of plan it out at the end of the year when you're getting ready to do your traditional New Year's resolutions or New Year's practices, whatever you do. I invite you to check out that practice. Focus on a word for the year and allow that to be the underlying essence of who you are and what you want to experience during that year. And, for those people who are perfectionists and think that, oh, I have to pick the perfect word, just start with one. And if you decide to change it a month or two in, change it. Just allow yourself that experience of having that. Just try it out. I invite you. I think it'll really change the world for you too. And then, the other thing, part of self-nurturance is self-reflection. So at this time of the year, many of us, go into our downtime, into our ability just to um, pay reverence, appreciation, um, and thanks and gratitude for everything that has happened and transpired. All the things, whether we label them good or bad, because there's always a gift in all of that. Um, and to just maybe write a letter to your higher self, go into meditation and just pen a letter. And, that's ending things. That's one letter. And then after you have exhausted what you're thankful for, the list might go on forever and ever, who knows, but when it feels complete for you, put that aside and then create another list of things that, what I'm going to invite you to do is write a letter to your future self, maybe even date it to, the time, this date in 2024, and don't open it until next year. But write a letter to your future self of everything that you're grateful and thankful for that you have accomplished and created in the next year. This could be a new tradition that you start for yourself. And once you come, if you feels complete, I invite you to put it in an envelope, maybe even address it to yourself, put a stamp on it, and maybe the beginning of December, just send it in the mail so you get this letter at the end of the month, and just open it up and just imagine what this could be like when you open it. There might be some hidden jewels in there that you didn't even realize that you already created, and you don't know how you did it, but it happened. I love doing this exercise at the end of the year, especially if you're having a holiday celebration. It's a great thing to incorporate with your guests. Just have them write a letter to their future self, or maybe start with everything that they're grateful for, to write it down, and then invite them to write a letter to their future selves. Just probably, let them get grounded and put some beautiful music on and just allow them to um, just to feel into what's possible. Okay. And, of course, you're going to have some skeptics and naysayers, but I encourage you to encourage them to just say, you know what? What do you got to lose? Let's just give it a shot and see what happens. And then provide an envelope and have them self-address the envelope. And then as a gift to them next December, just send it out in the mail, and it'll be a pleasant surprise for them with their holiday gifts. So these are things that can be done that are very um, a little different, than the traditional things to do, but it's a great gift to give yourself in the future that you didn't even know that you needed that gift when you got it. So those are some of the lovely things that I love doing when I work in groups of people or if I have events, because you just never know what comes through us that we're not going to even remember until we get the tangible evidence a year later that, oh my gosh, I look at this and I actually created this. This is pretty amazing. So I invite you to do that. And this is all about gratitude and just allowing yourself to receive. Okay. Many of us have a challenge with that. We're good at giving and giving, but allowing ourselves to receive. So receiving from yourself, this is one great way of doing it, but allowing yourself to receive from the universe. When we are changing timelines like we are, it's like we're in uncharted territory. So it's about the trust, the big T, trust, trust, and trust. That's a new concept for a lot of people, because if you're like me, you're the Italian lady sitting on her hands trying to talk. but it's about trust. When you sit on your hands, it's almost like for me, I'm trusting. I'm trusting that whatever's going to happen, and there's nothing that I need to do. I'm just trusting and knowing that everything's going to be fine no matter what's going on. When we try to control stuff, we just muck it up for ourselves. We really do. It's just like we create all these convoluted things that are just interesting creations at their best. So when we're able to trust, trust, and trust, that should be the new mantra maybe for 2024. Trust. I like that. With the big T, trust. So, getting back to nurturing with self care is doing things that bring you joy. Okay. Um, you know, I think so many times we look at life from half full versus half empty, or half empty versus half full. Um, this is a time of the year to celebrate our victories. There's a lot to be joyful about. And like I was saying, it's just like when you focus on the higher vibrating words like joy and appreciation versus, you know, heavier words that are like, well, I didn't do this or whatever, anything that's not of a positive nature, we lower our vibration. And why would you want to do that? Let's raise our vibration, because joy is contagious. It really is. And if you ever doubt that, I want you to play with this idea. Go out into the world and just have a smile on your face and smile at people. You're going to notice that people start smiling back. It's that simple. And, of course, there's going to be some outliers thinking, well, why is she so happy and joyful? Well, that affects them too, because they're paying attention to that. And maybe it's allowing them and giving them an opportunity to raise their frequency and raise the bar in their life. So celebrate the victories, just focus on joy, because there's a lot to be joyful about, even though the world and collective consciousness probably is not seeing that. The difference is that when it comes from inside of yourself, you are projecting it out into the universe, and you are shifting collective consciousness one drop at a time. It's a ripple effect. So I invite you to continue to do that, because it does work. It does work. Another way to really, and we talk so much about gratitude and appreciation, and just making sure that you, with everything that you are grateful for and appreciative of, it's just like, just appreciate yourself. My gosh, we are so hard on ourselves sometimes that we forget that we are the foundational piece of all of this. Please, please, please just love and appreciate and nurture and love yourself. Give yourself the credit that you deserve, because you are worth it. You have to start believing that and trusting that you are this amazing person that is here to really shift and change the world, and you're leading by example. So what you do really has an outward ripple effect to the masses. Even, like I said, if it's as simple as smiling and showing up with joy in your heart, it's contagious. People will want to be around that. And if you have any doubt, just watch little kids when you're that way. They just gravitate to you. Animals will gravitate to you. And just those are just concrete demonstrations. Energetically, the invisible stuff that's aligned with the higher vibration of joy and appreciation is going to gravitate to you as well, because it's a vibration and a frequency. So you'll have more and more things to be joyful and appreciative of as well. So we've talked about so much for our empathic friends, especially during this holiday haven, to nurture and also to embrace their beingness. So when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about more and wrap this all up. So you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And you are listening to us on Inspired Choices Network. So stay tuned and we'll see you when we come back. Ciao, ciao.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And I'm your host, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And happy holidays once again to everybody. We're in that big time holiday season, at winding up the end of the year. And we've been talking about the Empath Holiday Haven. This is the third episode in a 4-part series that I am providing information about during this holiday season. And we're talking about embracing your soul nurturance with self-care. Next week, we're going to be talking about embracing inner peace. So we'll get to that a little later. But we talked about doing emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, possibly doing some different new traditions as you move through the ending of this year and the beginning of the new year. I think some of the most important things to remember from our talk today is that we are moving rapidly into another time and place. And I invite people to buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a ride and it's going to be an awesome ride. It's about learning how to trust with a capital T, RUST, trust. And when in doubt, go back to the first, what I just said, trust. And if you're doubting again, just go back to trust again, because it's really about trusting. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to figure out. We're in uncharted territory in a very good way. It's almost enabling us to get out of our own way so that we could experience all the joys, riches, and everything that is supposed to be ours with a lot more ease and grace than we have. It's about learning to create from a place of love and abundance versus creating from stress, anxiety, and fear. Okay, so jumping timelines, it's very important. So, I've been talking a little bit about on each episode, what are some new holiday traditions for empaths, intuitives, and highly sensitive people? So, these are some things to remember. Have mindful gatherings. Maybe instead of having that big event that, the big family event, just have small micro events where you get a bunch of people that you're really close to and you just enjoy each other's company and have a calming environment. Maybe soft lighting, soft colors, just whatever feels delicious and yummy instead of just overwhelmingly stimulating. Maybe if you have the opportunity, spend the holidays in a place you've never been before. One of my favorite places to go sometimes is to Sedona over to the holidays and just rent an Airbnb or just go to the mountains. And if you live in Southern California like I do, we don't get to have experience snow on a daily basis. And it's nice sometimes to change up the environment and go to a place where it's cold and you experience snow and not have to live in it. So those are some things. And also, an empathetic, empathic gift exchange. Focus on giving gifts that, give gifts that are heart centered. You feel into your heart space, so you're able to give gifts that have a lot more meaning to you. Maybe gifts of experience, handmade items, whatever that is, just feel into it. You will do the right thing. So next week, let's just talk about what we're going to create with embracing your inner peace as the conclusion of our 4-part series, The Empath's Holiday Haven. And I'm just going to read from this here so you have an idea of what to expect the next time we come on board. In a world filled with chaos and noise, finding solace can seem like an impossible quest. But this holiday season, we invite you to join us on the Dr. Dolores Show as we conclude our 4-part series on the Empath's Holiday Haven. And today we're going to be talking about embracing inner peace. Our show is all about helping you discover the power of inner peace and how to project it outwards, touching the hearts of those around you. In the fast-paced, stress-filled holiday rush, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind. Let's face it, it's a whirlwind out there. It's sometimes a tsunami. However, our show provides a haven of tranquility and techniques to not only center yourself, but to also radiate that serenity to others, not just during the holidays, but all year long. We believe that as empaths, you possess a unique gift, the ability to feel and understand the emotions of those around you. And with the right tools and guidance, you can channel this empathic energy into a force for good, bringing calm and peace to the people in your life, and even possibly peace on earth. Embracing inner peace is your guide to fostering mindfulness, embracing gratitude, and using your empathic abilities to create a more harmonious world. Let's face it, we need more of that in our world. And how do we do it? By each of us coming to peace within ourselves. So as I conclude this episode, and I can't believe it's time to do that already, one of the things I just want to remind people, just to make sure to take care of yourselves. Make yourself a priority. Love yourself enough to put you first on your list. Too often during this time of the year, and maybe at other times of the year too, we ignore ourselves or we forget about ourselves. Of all things, my gosh, you don't want to be doing that. You're a very important person, and you're so important that you need to be here to show up for yourself. Because if you don't show up for yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. And when you learn to embrace that and love that just as it is, your worth is going to soar. You are worthy of everything that you truly desire. You are worthy of being here in this time. You are worthy of being loved, appreciated, valued, respected. And when that is no longer being served at the table, it's time for you to go to a different table where it is being served. So, wishing you the most merriest of holiday seasons, and knowing that as we come to a close of this year, 2023, we're going to be moving forward into an amazing time in the future. So, happy holidays. I hope you get everything that your heart truly desires. And just know that you are loved, appreciated, valued, respected. See you next time, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific.